The Immortal Sect, Rise of the Celestial Conqueror. Chapter 1. Awakening in the Celestine Realm. Ethan Vale groaned as he stirred awake, his head pounding like he'd pulled an all-nighter in front of his gaming rig, but instead of the familiar hum of his computer, the only sound was the rustling of leaves and the distant call of some bird he'd never heard before. He blinked and sat up, his breath catching as he took in the scenery around him. The sky was painted with hues of gold and violet, two suns hovering above the horizon like celestial sentinels. Rolling hills, blanketed in vibrant green, stretched as far as the eye could see. A crystalline lake shimmered nearby, its surface so clear that it reflected the twin suns. The air was fresh, with an odd, sweet scent, as if the world itself breathed differently. "This isn't Earth," Ethan muttered, rubbing his eyes. He reached up to touch his forehead, but his hand passed right through something. Before he could process what was going on, a soft chime rang out from nowhere. "System notification. Welcome, Ethan Vale. You have been chosen. Activating Celestial Summoning System. Initialization complete." A glowing interface appeared before him, hovering in mid-air. Lines of text shimmered on a translucent blue screen, something straight out of one of his favorite RPGs. "What the hell?" Eventually, Ethan whispered, reaching out instinctively. His hand passed through the holographic interface, but the text stayed in place, shimmering like some kind of magic. System notification. The Celestial Summoning System allows you to summon beings of extraordinary power from across dimensions. Use this gift to survive, conquer, and ascend in the Celestine realm. Ethan's jaw dropped. Wait. A system? Like, in a game? The screen flickered, revealing a menu of options: summon, inventory, status, and quests. Ethan's instincts kicked in, excitement bubbling under his shock. "All right," he muttered. "Let's see what this thing can do." He selected summon and a list of categories appeared: historical legends, mythical beasts, divine guardians, and more. Most were grayed out, but one glowed faintly: novice summon. "Well, guess I'm starting small," Ethan said, tapping the glowing option. A brilliant light erupted from the screen, filling the air with a low hum that vibrated through the ground. The earth beneath him trembled as a swirling portal materialized in front of him. Ethan stumbled back, shielding his eyes from the blinding light. From the portal emerged a figure clad in simple leather armor, carrying a bow slung across his back. The man had sharp features, his eyes glinting like polished steel. He knelt before Ethan, placing a hand over his heart in a formal gesture. "I am Arin, Ranger of Windwood Vale. Who calls me forth?" Ethan blinked in disbelief. I did?" Arin rose, his expression calm but curious. "You are my summoner then. I am bound to serve you." Ethan turned to the glowing interface again. Arin's stats appeared. Arin Minor, Ranger of Windwood Vale. Class, Archer abilities, Precision Shot, Windstep, Trap Master. "This is insane," Ethan breathed, trying to wrap his head around it. "You're real. This isn't some VR simulation, right?" Arin frowned slightly. "VR? I do not understand your words, but I assure you, this is as real as the ground beneath your feet." Ethan's pulse quickened. "All right," he said, forcing himself to stay calm. "If this is real, I need to figure out what's going on." "Arin, do you know where we are?" "The Everdawn Highlands," Arin replied. "A land of beauty and danger. You must tread carefully, summoner." "Danger!" The word sent a chill down Ethan's spine, but also ignited a spark of determination. He wasn't just some random guy anymore. He had a system, a cheat code for survival. "All right, Arin," Ethan said, clenching his fists. "Let's figure this out. Together." Chapter 2. Testing the system. As the golden light of the setting suns bathed the rolling hills, each corner is ruled by different sects, some peaceful, others less so. "You'll need strength if you wish to survive here." Ethan's mind raced. "Good thing I had the system," he muttered, his fingers dancing over the holographic interface. He opened quests, and a new notification popped up. "Quest received. Test your summoning ability." Objective: summon another companion. Reward: 100 experience points basic weapon. Well, that's convenient, Ethan chuckled. He looked at Aaron. Think we can handle another summons? Aaron gave a small nod, his gaze scanning the surroundings. Let us see what this realm offers you. Ethan activated a summon screen again. Her eyes burned with intensity, her presence commanding. I am Lyra, pyromancer of the Ember Peaks, she declared. Who dares summon me? Ethan grinned, nervously, meeting her fiery gaze. Me. Welcome to the team? Before Lyra could respond, a deep growl echoed through the trees. Prepare yourselves, Aaron said, his voice steady as he knocked an arrow. Something approaches. From the shadows, a pack of wolf-like creatures emerged. Their fur was black as night, and their eyes glowed with an unnatural blue light. The creatures bared their fangs, circling the group. Ethan's heart raced, but he quickly found his footing. This was it, his first real test. Arun, take the high ground, Ethan ordered, surprising himself with the authority in his voice. Lyra, keep them at bay with fire. The battle was fierce and fast. Aaron's arrows flew with deadly precision, each shot finding its mark. Lyra unleashed flames, pushing the wolves back. Ethan stayed behind, observing and directing his companions, his mind constantly ticking through possible strategies. When the last wolf fell, the system chimed again. Quest complete. Reward. Basic weapon resort. Miha. Ethan exhaled a breath he hadn't realized he was holding. We did it. Aaron nodded approvingly. Not bad, summoner. Lyra crossed her arms, a small smile tugging at her lips. You've got potential. Don't waste it. As the suns dipped below the horizon, Ethan turned to face his companions. A surge of hope filled his chest. This was just the beginning. I don't know how I got here, Ethan said, but I'm not going anywhere until I figure it out. And if this world wants to throw challenges at me, well, from here, the story will expand in similar ways, fleshing out battles, character motivations, and emotional moments. As Ethan faces his challenges, he becomes increasingly aware of his growing power and responsibility, while each of his companions, Lyra, Yaren, and others, evolve as well. Each major battle will have more intricate strategies and tactical planning, showing Ethan's growth as a leader. Chapter 3. The Celestial Warriors. The journey to the Celestial Ruins felt like a dream. Ethan, Oreen, and Lyra ventured deeper into the ancient lands of the Celestials, where the air was thick with mist or power. Towering structures from a forgotten time loomed above them, their flat and weathered stone stars etched with ancient ruins. Ethan felt something strange stir within him as they approached the heart of the ruins, as if the very ground beneath his feet recognized his presence. It was as though the world itself was holding its breath, waiting for something to unfold. As they reached a grand temple at the center of the ruins, a strange energy pulsed through the air. Inside, a vast chamber awaited them, its walls lined with towering statues of the celestial warriors. These were once the protectors of realms, their legendary feats having been passed down in stories for centuries. Now their forms were nothing more than stone, but their power still lingered in the air, heavy and palpable. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, and atop it lay a glowing relic, the celestial sigil, a talisman said to be imbued with the very essence of the celestial warrior. Legend had it that whoever wielded the sigil would inherit the combined strength and knowledge of the celestials themselves. Ethan felt an overwhelming pull toward the sigil, as though it was calling to him. He stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest, and placed his hand upon it. A moment, the ground beneath him rumbled as the relic's power activated, and the statues of the celestial warriors seemed to come alive. Their stone eyes glowed with a fierce light, and their voices echoed in the chamber. "You have come," they intoned in unison. "The realms have chosen you. The Talamis lay." It would acknowledge visions of ancient battles, forgotten magics, and lost histories flooded his mind. The celestial warriors had chosen him, and with that choice came immense responsibility. "You must stop the darkness," the voices continued. "The beast of shadows is but the first of many threats that will rise. But you are not alone. The fate of thy realms lies with you. He wasn't just a participant in a game anymore. He was the last hope of the realms. Chapter 4. The Beast of Shadows. As the group left the celestial ruins, the sky above them seemed to darken, the air charged with an unnatural chill. Ethan's mind was still reeling from the visions and the surge of power he had felt from the celestial sigil, but the weight of the prophecy hung heavy on him. There was no time to waste. Arin's sharp eyes scanned the horizon, his hand resting on the bow slung across his back. We need to get to the kingdom of Aloria. There have been rumors of a great beast that has been terrorizing the countryside. If it's the Beast of Shadows, we can't afford to wait any longer. Lyra nodded. I've heard the same, and if the beast is connected to the darkness the celestial warriors spoke of, then we need to stop it before it grows stronger. Ethan clenched his fist, feeling the power of the sigil pulse within him. We won't let it destroy this world! The kingdom of Aloria was a 3-day journey through the wild woods, an ancient forest filled with magical creatures and hidden dangers. As they approached the outskirts of the kingdom, they saw the signs of destruction, burned fields, broken villages, and the stench of decay in the air. It was clear the Beast of Shadows had passed through here, leaving nothing but death in its wake. They soon found a village that had barely escaped the beast's rampage. The villagers spoke in hushed tones of the creature, a massive, shadowy being with glowing red eyes, capable of vanishing into thin air and reappearing in an instant. Its very presence twisted the land, leaving behind only ruin. Ethan and his companions followed the trail of destruction deep into the heart of the kingdom until they finally encountered the beast. It was more terrifying than they had imagined. A hulking, shadowy creature with limbs that seemed to stretch and warp, its eyes burning with an unnatural, malevolent light. Without hesitation, Arin fired a volley of arrows, but the beast easily dodged them, vanishing into the shadows. Lyra's fire magic lit up the surroundings, but the creature was fast, and its attacks came in a blur of darkness. Ethan drew his sword, his body filled with the power of the celestial sigil. He could feel the strength of the celestial warriors coursing through him, but it wasn't enough to hold off the beast alone. As the creature lunged toward him, Ethan called upon the power within the sigil, summoning a blinding flash of light that momentarily paralyzed the beast. Lyra seized the opportunity, launching a wave of fire directly at the creature. With a terrible roar, the beast dissolved into the shadows, leaving only a trail of black smoke in its wake. We've defeated it. For now, Lyra said, her breathing heavy. But Ethan knew this wasn't the end. The beast was merely a pawn in a much larger game. Chapter 5. The Dark Council. In the aftermath of the battle with the Beast of Shadows, the group set out to uncover the truth behind the creature's appearance and its connection to the rising darkness. Their journey led them to the rising darkness, where an ancient order known as the Dark Council was rumored to operate. The Dark Council is said to be an ancient group of sorcerers. Arin explained as they traveled through the rugged terrain. People once ruled over the realms with an iron fist, but their power waned after the fall of their leader, the Shadow King. Ethan listened intently, his thoughts racing. If the council had returned, it would mean the rise of an even greater threat than the beast. They would have to act quickly. The Everdawn Highlands were a bleak and dangerous place, full of twisted forests and crumbling ruins. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the highlands, they encountered strange, otherworldly creatures, twisted beasts born of dark magic and foul rituals. After days of searching, they discovered a hidden temple deep within the mountains, the seat of the Dark Council's power. The temple was a place of dark beauty, its walls covered in intricate carvings that told the story of the council's rise to power and their ultimate fall. Inside the temple, they found a chamber that contained a powerful artifact, the Heart of Shadows. This relic, when activated, could open a portal to the realm of darkness, allowing the Dark Council to summon unimaginable horrors from beyond. Ethan knew they couldn't allow the heart to fall into the wrong hands. As the group prepared to leave the temple, they were ambushed by the Dark Council itself. Figures cloaked in shadows, their eyes glowing with dark magic. "The heart belongs to us," a voice boomed from the darkness. "You are too weak to stop us. The realms will fall, and we shall reign once more." Ethan gripped the celestial sigil, feeling its power surge within him. "We'll see about that." Chapter 6. Into the Darkness. The battle against the Dark Council was fierce, and Ethan's newfound power proved to be both a blessing and a curse. The celestial sigil's strength surged through him, but it also came with a price. The more he used its power, the more it threatened to consume him. He could feel the darkness creeping at the edges of his consciousness, whispering to him, trying to pull him into the abyss. But Ethan wasn't about to let that happen. He fought with everything he had, calling upon the power of the celestial warriors to overwhelm the shadows. His companions fought alongside him, Aaron's arrows flying like streaks of lightning, and Lyra's fire burning brighter than ever. With a final surge of energy, Ethan shattered the Heart of Shadows, breaking the Council's hold over the realms. The Council began to collapse around them as the Council's figures evaporated into the ether. Chapter 7. The Shattered Realm. With the Dark Council defeated, Ethan and his companions thought they had won. But the destruction caused by the Heart of Shadows had left a deep scar on the fabric of reality. The realms were beginning to fracture, and the boundaries between worlds were starting to unravel. Ethan realized that the destruction of the heart had not ended the darkness. It had only unleashed a greater threat. A shattered realm was coming, a place where the boundaries between worlds were torn apart, and all existence would merge into one chaotic, unstable reality. Aaron's voice broke through Ethan's thoughts. "We need to find a way to stop this before it's too late. The celestial warriors knew of this. There must be something in the ruins that can help." The group set out once more, this time to the forgotten corners of the realms, searching for a way to seal the rift and restore balance. They would need to journey to the highest peaks and deepest depths. Chapter 8. The Final Convergence. Ethan, Aaron, and Lyra journeyed through the desolate lands, the rift between realms widening with every passing day. Strange creatures, born from the twisted intersection of worlds, wandered freely, and the sky above them was filled with unnatural storms. The once familiar lands had become a nightmare, shifting between reality and something far darker. After weeks of traveling, they reached the last city, a ruined metropolis once revered as a beacon of hope and knowledge. Here, hidden in its shattered halls, was a secret that could restore the fabric of reality. The city was silent, its streets abandoned, but the echo of ancient power resonated in the air. "This is where it ends," Ethan said quietly, standing before a massive crumbling structure at the heart of the city. The structure was a great tower that had once served as a place of study for the celestial scholars. Within it, the secrets of the realms had been preserved for centuries. The door was sealed, but Ethan could feel the presence of the celestial warriors within. With the power of the sigil, he pushed against the barrier, feeling the energy shift and the door slowly creak open. Inside, the air was thick with the knowledge of ages past. At the center of the tower stood a massive stone pedestal. Upon it rested a glowing crystal, the key of eternity. According to the ancient texts, this was the key to sealing the rift between the realms. But using it would come at a cost. Only a being of pure heart could wield it, and even then, it required the sacrifice of something truly dear. Ethan stepped forward, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on him. The rift had grown worse in the time they'd been traveling, and if it wasn't stopped soon, everything would collapse into chaos. But using the key would require a price that he wasn't sure he was ready to pay. "I can feel it," Lyra said, her voice steady. "This is the only way to save everything. You've come this far, Ethan. You have to do it." Ethan nodded, his heart heavy with the knowledge that he might lose everything. "I'll do whatever it takes." He reached out, gripping the key of eternity. The crystal's light flared, enveloping him in a blinding brilliance. The ground shook as the rift trembled violently, and Ethan could feel his very soul being torn between the worlds. But in that moment something within him shifted. The celestial warriors, the ancient beings that had guided him, were not just watching, they were with him, lending him their strength. The knowledge of countless warriors filled him, and he understood the sacrifice required. With a final, resolute breath, Ethan pressed the key to his chest. The crystal pulsed, and for a moment, time itself seemed to stop. A great light erupted from the tower, sending out a shockwave that rippled through the realms. As the light faded, Ethan fell to his knees, the key of eternity now gone. The rift began to close, the boundaries of reality stabilizing once more. But the cost had been paid. Chapter 9. The Sacrifice. The aftermath of the convergence left the group in a state of mourning and uncertainty. The realms had been saved, but the price of victory was clear. The key of eternity had consumed not just Ethan's strength, but his very connection to the celestial sigil. The light of the sigil faded, leaving only an empty echo of its power. Ethan, weakened but alive, sat on the steps of the ruined tower, his companion standing beside him. "I did it," Ethan whispered, his voice hoarse. "But at what cost?" Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, her eyes filled with sorrow. "You saved us all, Ethan. You saved the realms. That's more than anyone could ever ask of you." Aaron, ever the stoic, nodded in agreement. "The world will remember what you've done. The darkness is gone and the realms are safe." But as the days passed, Ethan couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness that gnawed at him. Without the power of the celestial sigil, he was just a man who had once been chosen for something greater. The legacy of the celestial warriors no longer coursed through him. He had given it all for the greater good. Yet, in the silence that followed the battle, Ethan realized something profound. The true power had never been in the sigil or the Heart of Shadows. It had always been in his heart, in his ability to stand against impossible odds, to sacrifice for those he loved, and to keep moving forward even when everything seemed lost. Chapter 10. A New Dawn. Weeks passed and the world began to heal. The lands that had once been ravaged by the rift now flourished once more. Cities rebuilt, villages were resettled, and the peace that had once seemed so distant now seemed tangible. The realms had been saved, not through power but through the strength of will, unity, and sacrifice. Ethan, though no longer the bearer of the celestial sigil, had become a legend in his own right. His name would be spoken of for generations to come, not just as the one who had wielded the sigil, but as the one who had brought light back to a shattered world. As he walked through the newly restored streets of Eluria, he smiled faintly. Lyra and Aaron walked beside him, their camaraderie stronger than ever. The battles they had fought, the trials they had endured, had forged an unbreakable bond between them. "Do you think there will ever be peace?" Ethan asked, his gaze on the horizon where the sun was just beginning to rise. Lyra looked up at the sky. "There will always be challenges, but I believe we've done something few ever could. We've changed the course of history." Aaron grinned. "And now we get to live in that history." Ethan smiled, finally at peace with the choices he had made. He had given everything, but he had also gained something priceless. True friends, an enduring hope for the future, and the knowledge that no matter how dark the world became, there would always be a way forward. As the three of them stood together, watching the dawn of a new era, Ethan realized that their journey was far from over. There were still stories to tell, adventures to be had, and lives to change. The realms had been saved, but the true adventure was just beginning, and for the first time in a long while, Ethan felt ready to face whatever came next. Epilogue. The Legacy of the Celestial Sigil. Years passed, and the realms flourished once more, but the legacy of the celestial warriors remained. Their stories, once whispered in the wind, now filled the halls of the great libraries. The celestial sigil, once a symbol of unimaginable power, was now a relic, a reminder of the sacrifice that had saved all worlds. Ethan's name lived on, not just in tales of his bravery, but in the hearts of those who had known him. The realms had been forever changed by his actions, and his journey had inspired countless others to rise against the darkness, no matter the cost. As the sun set on the world that had once teetered on the edge of annihilation, the stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, each one a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the light would always find its way. And the legacy of the celestial warriors, and the hero who had stood among them, would never be forgotten. The end.